Good morning. This meeting of Madera County Board of Supervisors now called to order, and we'll begin with, are there any additions to the agenda?
Good morning, Chairman. There is one addition to the agenda under legislative updates. It's related to Madera Community Hospital's application for the Distress Hospital Loan Program. There is a time limit on when this should get in so that it will be fully considered prior to award. Letter, this came to my attention yesterday, so we drafted a letter yesterday, and there should be a copy on the podium, or excuse me, on the dais in front of you. And we would ask that you consider putting this in front of the board and then considering whether you're going to approve submission of this letter or not.
Okay. We'll hear a motion to add this to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to add this letter to the agenda due to the sense of urgency and the time constraints that is necessary to present this letter.
Okay, the need did arise after the posting of the agenda. Do I hear a second?
And I'll second that, Chairman.
Motion and second. Any comment from the public? One online.
No comments online.
Okay, let's vote.
Supervisor Porges,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers,
Yes.
vote passes 4-0.
Okay, and County Council, would you read closed session into the agenda?
Yes, Chairman, members of the board, there's 3 existing litigation matters related to groundwater. The first is MID and Madera Irrigation District Groundwater Sustainability Agency versus the County GSA. And that's a Madera County Superior Court case, MCV 086277. The other is Valley Groundwater Coalition versus the County of Madera, MCV 087677. And the third is a list of last names known as the Grassland Interested Parties versus the County of Madera GSA, and that's MCV 086218. And the last item is your standard labor negotiations with your agency designated representatives, Director Roman Noriega, Joel Bourget, and Susan Carter. The employer organization is all units, and unrepresented employees are all classifications excluding elected officials, and that's under Government Code 54957.6. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comment on the closed session from the public? No one online? We'll adjourn to closed session. return from closed session and we would continue with the agenda. County Council, anything to report from closed session?
Chairman, there is no reportable action from your closed session.
Okay, if not, we'll, at this time, we're going to have the invocation by Reverend Leroy Gaffney of Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church come forward and do the prayer for us.
Morning, if
Stand,
you'd
please.
stand in reference to our Lord and our God. Father, we come this morning. We thank you this morning for allowing us to come together. Lord, we ask you to bless this meeting and let us all be on one accord. Those things that are before the board will be handled correctly. In the precious and mighty name of Jesus, amen.
And thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let's salute our flag of our great nation. I pledge allegiance, flag of the United States of America, to the republic for one nation. Public comment.
Public comment, the first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take any action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record.
Okay, anyone wishing to address the board from public comment needs to come up, sign the. Go ahead, Supervisor.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rob Poitras, and I'm a resident of Madera. And it gives me great pleasure at this time to recognize one of our citizens in our city who is done a great job. He's a businessman, a contributor in great many ways, and he brought an exciting event back to our city, the 4th of July fireworks spectacular. And I'd like to introduce to everybody Rohi Zachariah. Rohi, would you join me? Very good. Rohi is he's a member of the Kiwanis Club of Greater Madera. Okay, basically it's the only Kiwanis Club in Madera, but he's a man, what I would say, of quiet determination. He's a guy that makes things happen, but he does it with encouragement. And unfortunately, or fortunately for us, he does a lot of it himself. And a year ago, or a little over a year ago, actually it was almost 2 years ago, a decision was made to bring the fireworks, 4th of July fireworks show back to Madera after prior to COVID. I think the last fireworks show was 2016. And Rohi and some of the fellow members of the Greater Madera Kiwanis Club said, we need to bring it back. So Rohi worked very hard to bring a coalition of city and county and all kinds of folks, private industry, to help fund this event. And it was ready to go in 2022. And then something strange happened. The vendor that was going to provide the fireworks, there was some legality or some issue or whatever. And there were many cities, just not the city of Madera, that all of a sudden we weren't going to have a fireworks show. So it's just kind of like right out of the gate, it's just like, whoa, we've collected all this money and now there's no fireworks show. Well, Rohi said, you know what? That's not good enough. We're still going to have a fireworks show. It may be in 2023. So he tightened his belt, went out there, and again, with that quiet determination and encouragement, brought the parties together. And in 2023, we had a fireworks show out here at the Madera Fairgrounds. It was outstanding. And I just like to thank and recognize Rohi for his contributions. So Rohi, on behalf of the Madera County Board of Supervisors, I'd like to present to you this certificate of recognition.
I would like to thank everyone, especially the community, for standing by us. Obviously, we had some hiccups along the way, And to remind everyone, we do plan this to be an annual event, and with your support, we hope to continue this as a Madera tradition. That's kind of the main reason we wanted to keep it going. So I do appreciate this. And again, thank you for all your support.
Good words, Supervisor. Describe him, quiet determination that it can be done. That's excellent. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Gracie Lepper, and I am a representative here for IHSS providers in Madera County. And I just want to continue the conversations we've been having and to remind us at the end of the day why we're here, to be of service to others. And with that, I'd like to share with you a powerful quote by Rosalind Carter that speaks to humanity, the importance of who we are as caregivers, and the essential work that we do on a daily basis to ensure that our clients and our loved ones are cared for in the safety and the comfort of their homes. There are 4 people in this world: those who have been caregivers, those who are currently caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who will need a caregiver. Valuing caregiving is a critical component of our nation's healthcare system. It's an act that must be taken seriously. And today I thank you for your time and listening to our speakers, and just to hold everybody accountable. We took oaths, and some of us took on certain goals, as myself, to be of service for the next decade, to try to give back to this beautiful world and make a difference. And I'd like to think, as I said last time, that every day when I go to bed and I close my eyes, I left the world a little better than when I found it in the morning. So thank you for that.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Gloria Brown, and for most of the board knows me. I'm a resident in District 1. We haven't met, sir. It's nice to meet you. I'm a daughter and a sister. And I say that because I am an ISS worker for my mother and my brother. And we're here. I am also a former worker for the CCWF, and I was in the district bargaining union rep for DLC 770 at the state prison. I have a lot of information on to help my coworkers here in ISS to be better than we can be and help get our community where we want it to be. My mother is 90 years old, and she had asked us never to put us in a home. So I helped my mother, and she's had several falls and whatnot. But I know that there's other mothers and sisters and brothers, family members that need help. And that's why these workers here have put their lives out to help them and other people that's not their family. So I am going to take all my energies now to help ISS be the best we can be in Madera, get them educated, get them trained, so when they go into someone's home, their families can feel at ease that these workers are here for their family's best interests. So you have seen me. I am Gloria Brown, and I'm here. Have a good day.
Good morning. Well, good morning, board members. My name is Gloria Torres, and I am an IHSS provider here in Madera County. I take care of my daughter, Kylie Moreno. She is 19 years old with epilepsy and intractable seizures. And I have been a provider for here in the county of Madera 6 years. I was also caring for her before we moved to Madera and Fresno. I am one of the 2,500 IHSS providers caring for one of the 2,600 IHSS recipients here alone in Madera County. The decisions you make impact over 5,000 people who live in this county. A wage increase would cost the county 16.6%, while bringing in over 80% of federal and state funds to Madera County. This means that if Madera County gives IHSS providers $1 wage increase, the county would pay about $500,000 while bringing in over $2.6 million into the local economy. Let me repeat. Madera County pays 16.5% of the cost to wage increase for IHSS providers. If Madera County were to give us $1 wage increase, the county share would be 500,000, while bringing in over 2.6 million in state and federal dollars into our local economy. That's over a 400% return on investment. Why would the county not do it? This is a good investment with a high return. We hope that you do the right thing and negotiate in good faith. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen.
Good morning, board members. My name is Diana Casanova, and I'm an IHSS provider. I take care of a lady who is not related to me, Miss Kessling, and I've been a provider for her for 9 years. I'm an educated woman, and I had to leave my career because of unexpected life circumstances, which is called life. My mother was diagnosed with dementia, and I had to stop being a fleet safety instructor and take care of her. And then I heard about Miss Kessling that needed somebody to take care of her. She was in a car accident 40 years ago. The back of her head was crushed. Her too was an unexpected circumstance. She was in a coma for 6 months, came out of it, and now she has cognitive issues. She is 74 years old. My work is more than beyond the hours that I get paid. I love these people. I love my mother, of course, and I love Denise, Miss Kessling. She's become a part of the family to me. And so even beyond the hours of pay, I still do things for them and take care of them. Although I don't get paid for taking care of my mother, I get the opportunity to take care of both of these people. I am very proud to live here in Madera. And although I was born in Texas, I've been in Madera, in California for 60 years and in Madera for 45 years. And I'm very proud to be here, and I'm very happy to always give to the economy here. I try and do everything here in this economy. And I'm very happy that the board voted in to see if we can do something about MCH, Madera Community Hospital. So I think that we can prove to be a very progressive county, and we can lead the state of California in showing them how we care for our people, the over 2,600 people here in Madera County that we take care of. And you can be the leaders in showing California and then eventually becoming a complete state that takes care of their people the right way. I know I'm headed for that route where I'm going to be having to be taken care of one day, and all of you also probably. So I'm just hoping that it will be wonderful people that really care and actually even love their charges that they take care of. And so anyway, thank you for this opportunity, and we'll hope to that you bargain in really good faith with us. Thank you.
Buenos días, supervisores. Yo me llamo Guadalupe Cerritos y soy proveedora del IHSS por los últimos 2 años para mi esposo Álvaro Zamora. A través del cuidado que le doy a mi esposo, miro cómo poco a poco sigue adelante. Y mi único deseo es tener a mi esposo a mi lado lo más que pueda. Yo seguiré luchando para que el programa IHSS sea reconocido y nosotros los proveedores como trabajadores esenciales. Necesitamos ingresos del sueldo y beneficios para poder sobrevivir y seguir cuidando a nuestros seres amados. Muchas gracias por su tiempo. Gracias.
Would you like me to say that in English?
Yes, please.
Put my other hat. Good morning. This is Guadalupe. She's a provider for IHSS for the past 2 years. She takes care of her husband, and she has seen the improvement little by little with with the care that she gives him and the enthusiasm that he has in getting and healing and ensuring that he feels better every day. She is here as a voice, and she would like to be recognized as the essential worker that she is, and to keep her in mind among our colleagues when you are thinking about increasing and helping us for better wages and benefits. Thank you.
There's ringing in the system. If we could just turn the mics down just a hair somehow. There's a lot of ringing in the system.
That would help because I'm normally pretty loud and this issue has me very, very excited. I'm Dylan Savory. I'm the executive director of the Labor Federation that covers Madera County. We're a labor federation of 50 labor unions and 45,000 union members. I'm here to make 3 points. In every single county and every single city where I advocate, there are folks, that's too low. There are folks like yourself who are elected democratically by your constituents to do the right thing by the county. But the reality is that most of the work happens with a CAO or a city manager. And I'm not disparaging your jobs at all, but you are very far from the negotiations. And the CAO, no discredit to any of them, they are trained to save money for the city, and the largest expenses are generally labor. And while the cops and the firefighters and those folks always get their raises, the people on the bottom like them who are making the absolute lowest wage, most of them not full-time, most of them don't have health care, most of them would not otherwise choose to be providers if they didn't have a family member, somebody they dearly loved who was disabled. They're at the bottom, and your CAO is trained to save you money. So throughout California, there are anti-worker law firms that make their entire existence on making sure that these people are not paid correctly. And I know because I work in 6 to 8 counties and all of my colleagues statewide, there's the same 5 or 6 law firms that are always hired. And while you all mean to do well, you're very far from what's happening at the negotiation table. And I get to sit in with these folks and I get to see how disparaging those attorneys are when they look across the table and look at these people like they're less. And it's absolutely an embarrassment for your institution that you all are the face of. And I want to challenge you to be more detailed with your city staff, because there are anti-worker CAOs, and I don't know the CAO, so I'm not going to say that, but there are anti-worker city attorneys. They don't think of that way, but they're executives and they make a lot of money, and these people are just a number to them. And it's not okay for you to be elected by the people and not dig in a little bit and say, CAO, get this contract over the finish line. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is it's fiscally responsible for you to bring in that much more money to your county by paying 16%. An extra dollar is not going to break the bank, and it's going to bring in hundreds of thousands, if not billions of dollars to your small businesses, because none of them are going to put it in their savings account. They have bills to pay. They have families to feed. Most of them are not able to pay their bills or feed their families. Now, think of yourselves. Any of us, me, you, any of you could be driving home for today and get in a catastrophic car accident or have a stroke, and your income is out the window, and maybe your spouse is going to take care of you. Maybe your mom, somebody else in your family is going to take care of you. It could be anybody in this room. And suddenly you're somebody that needs a care provider. And unless you're incredibly wealthy, you're not going to be able to afford private care. And you're going to lose 1 income in your house, potentially 2 if your spouse is taking care of you. And if you don't want to be homeless, you're going to be having one of these people take care of you. Think about it from their shoes. Their job, with all due respect, is 10 times harder than your job. It is so hard to take care of some of these folks. I challenge you to dig in on the details on this. Get this done. It's the right thing for your county. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
I signed in. My name is Helen Brom. I'm from Eastern Madera County. And I've been a witness this last week to something that I find totally despicable off of Old Corral Road, north of Highway 417, off of 41, north of 417. And this road, if somebody would go over along it and just listen from the road, they can hear what sounds like over 100 dogs behind a fenced area that looks like no more than 1/4 to 1/3 of an acre. It's adjacent to Coarse Gold Creek. And I went to visit a lady who lives right next door. Their decks off their back side of the house hang over the creek. And this woman has told me, I did not see it. I saw the dogs and piles out there. And I've been told that that excrement is cleaned up once a day. The lady pays for it who lives there. She also has a big shed for cats. She has multiple small buildings supposedly to house the dogs. I don't know what engineering or the planning department has done up there, I don't know what kind of electrical checks have been done there, permits granted for whatever services maybe have gone in there. That deck is hosed off, whether they shovel up the dirt or not, right into Coarse Gold Creek. I wouldn't want to live downstream of that house. And I think somebody should go there. The lady has complained since last October and November about the noise level, about the smells. 2 dogs have escaped from that fenced area. And there have been, the sheriff's department has been out there. There has been, the animal control has been out there. And the emergency vehicles, when they went out there for one of the 2 people that was actually bitten or scratched or hurt by those dogs, has been out there. When that happens, the lady at the end of the road that I visited can't go in or out. Can anybody else come in there in case of a fire? I don't know. I think, though, the county as managers need to look into how well these departments are functioning to take care of this. I wouldn't believe that in this day and age, within, what is it, less than 80 years of what happened in Nazi Germany, where people, town mayors, burghers just allowed some of that stuff to go on. And I can't stand by. This happened Thursday that I visited, and I'd like to see some action. Thank you.
Any other public comment at this time? Anyone online? Okay,
No
we'll
comments
close
online.
public comment. We come to the consent calendar. Any items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate consideration by the board? Or any questions? Hearing none, any public comment on the consent calendar?
No comments
No
online?
comment online. I'll bring it back to the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve.
Motion is made to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Let's vote.
Supervisor Wamha,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
And of course, our colleague Leticia Gonzalez is out on maternity leave, having had a beautiful little baby girl. So we're proud for her. And I hope she's faring well today, probably listening to this meeting. He tries to stay engaged. In fact, came last week just for a vote and had to leave to take care of her baby. So we're very proud for her and very proud of her as a colleague as well. Let's move to discussion item number 6A.
Treasurer Tax Collector Department, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution ordering the discharge from accountability for delinquent taxes on unsecured property assessment billed for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. Jacqueline Torres Herrera, your Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector. And we are here before you today because every year the Treasurer Tax Collector has to come to the board to request approval for your discharge of accountability. So today what we did is, due to the new members that we have on the board, we wanted to go ahead and share some of the history of why we do this process and what that you guys will be seeing as we move forward annually.
Okay.
Okay, so the discharge of accountability is with approval of the board, discharging unpaid unsecured assessment relieves the county tax collector from pursuing ongoing collections deemed uncollectible on assessments that have been past due for 5 or more years. So this is strictly just on the unsecured roll, which is your business assessments, supplemental bills that get rolled over into default when they're not paid in the current fiscal year, any vessels, aircraft, some mobile homes, things of that nature. Under R&T Code Section 2923, unsecured assessments that have been past due for 5 or more years are no longer considered collectible, which means the tax collector can no longer continue with enforcement actions such as summary of judgments, levies, liens, things of that nature. And we'll go on to a little bit more of those details and the different statutes for different collection methods that we are able to use in the further slides. Government Code 25259. Once the tax collector has obtained a discharge, this does not release the liability of obligation to pay the amounts due. So just because we're coming with you to you today to request a discharge, these amounts are still owed by the assessees. If they ever sell property and the liens are still valid, we can still deem collections for these assessments. RNT code 2910, failure to receive your annual unsecured property tax bill does not relieve anyone from the obligation to pay their bill. So failure to receive it, they still have to pay it. So it's up to them to make sure that they are notifying the county. We do work with different constituents within the county if they've had a change of address and just things weren't getting updated on time. And then RNT code 2922, annual unsecured property taxes are due upon receipt and become delinquent after August 31st. So August 31st, postmark, and then the cutoff is 11:59 p.m. because we do have our online portal available for those who can't make it into the office by 5 o'clock. So these are the important dates for the unsecured roll. This year, we mailed out all unsecured property tax bills on July 14th. They are due August 31st, and you can see the timeline on there is when we send our 10-day notices, when our other collection methods and timelines that we have to make sure that we are filing our liens on time and able to collect, as I had mentioned before. Unsecured tax assessments starting the first day of the third month. So starting on November 1st, all unsecured assessments are considered delinquent and now start accruing a 1.5% penalty. Below are some of the listed items that we do. The key items that we currently do in our office do with staffing availability is we do record liens. So a lien is valid for 10 years, but can be renewed for up to 2 years after that. So that's a 30 years that a lien can be valid as long as we are properly re-recording those with the recorder's office. We do bank levies. So that's a massive bank levy that we send out to all banks in the surrounding areas and even some out of the area, depending on where the mailing address is that we have. And then franchise tax board. So the franchise tax board is a little bit different from that 5-year timeline that we talked about, because as long as the debt is owed and the lien is filed, the franchise tax board will intercept any tax refunds that are due to the constituent to pay the debt that's owed. And then registration holds are placed. So for ABC licenses, any FFA holds and DMV holds are all sent to these entities on December 1st. So failure to pay those. If you want to go out to the lake this year and you didn't pay, there's probably a hold with the DMV where they will not renew your tags. So you're not able to take your boat out or jet skis now that we actually have water in the lakes. And then why collection efforts may fail. Part of it is either the taxpayer has filed bankruptcy, taxpayers are deceased, assessments are invalid. And when we talk about assessments being invalid, it could be that an investor purchased a property. So the supplemental bill was issued to the investor. Now the new homeowner is not obligated to pay that. And that's why it's moved to the unsecured roll. Aggressive collections like the ones I mentioned before, we can only do that in the office within the first 3 years. So after that, the 4th year is kind of like, okay, what is it that we're going to be preparing for discharge to bring to your board? And then here's a history of what we've discharged over the last 8 years or so, and that we've brought into your board and the amount of accounts that have been requested and the amounts. And then unsecured property tax bills are due August 31st of this year. If people received an unsecured bill, we are asking them to please notify the assessor's office if their business is no longer in business, or if they remove their vessels from the counties, or if they remove the mobile home from the county. Please notify our office or the assessor's office to go ahead and get those records updated. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? And from the board, any online?
No comments online.
Okay. This was for discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution ordering discharge. So I will hear a motion
I'll move for approval.
made.
And I'll second.
Let's vote.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes.
The vote passes 4-0.
Okay, we have a public hearing at this time, item 7A.
7A, Board of Directors, Special Districts, County Service Area 2A and B, Bass Lake. Public Works Department, Administrative Service Division, hearing to adopt a resolution establishing increased sewer rates, increased sewer service rates and levying the increased rates within County Service Area 2, Bass Lake Zone A and B.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrea Soldati, Deputy Director with Public Works. Before you today is a resolution to adopt an increased sewer rate for Bass Lake. With me today, I actually have Heather Lira, Principal Admin Analyst with Public Works, who was instrumental in getting this rate study done. And online, we have our consultant, Eric Helgensen with Bartle Wells. They are the ones that actually do the rate studies for us. We feed them the data, they produce the rate study. So the last time that Bass Lake had a true rate increase was in September of 2019. It was a CPI escalator only. And what we have found is that that has not actually kept up with true expenses. Before that, the last rate study, full rate study, was done in 2013 in tandem with their sewer expansion project. So we've gone through a full rate study. We've held public meetings. We had a public meeting with the Bass Lake HOA on June 27th. We held a public meeting with just the residents impacted by this rate study. We held that meeting on July 12th. We have responded to all questions that have been posed from these public meetings, giving that information back out to the community. Ultimately, what the folks in Bass Lake are looking at is a rate increase from $475.65, which is the current assessment, to an assessment of $655.91. There is also an active ACO charge, which is $60 annually. So that will still stay on with the assessment. So the total rate adjustment will go from $535.65 to $725.91. When you break it down monthly, because most folks are looking at a monthly bill, these are actually collected on the property taxes. But you're going from $44.63 a month to $60.49 a month in that first year. In year 5, it would be $72.45 at the end of the 5-year rate study. At this point in time, we have 7 valid protests. We would need 555 valid protests in order for the rate to be protested. If there are any other speakers, we can take protests or whatever. If you guys have questions, I'm here.
Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing at this time and invite anyone who would like to protest or support forward to the mic. Is there anyone here who would like to do that? I don't see anyone online.
No comments online.
Okay, so I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. And what's your pleasure?
Chair, if I may, just real quick,
Yeah.
want to thank staff for taking so much time with the community on this. I think it really shows that when we go out there and we talk with the community about what we're trying to accomplish and give them the information, answer their questions up front, no pitchforks, right? We have a pretty significant rate increase. And I think for the most part, people have an understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. And so again, I just want to say thank you for taking so much time with those public meetings and all the diligence in responding to those questions.
Okay, thank you for the comment. Any, there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion is made.
I'll second.
Motion made in second. Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Pending legislation, we had one item brought before us, a letter. Go ahead, CAO.
So the opportunity has been forwarded to us to forward a letter to Secretary Galley in regards to the Distressed Hospital Loan Program. The letter is there on the dais, and there's copies for the public either out where the agenda is or with the clerk. Fairly direct to the point letter, basically encouraging Dr. Galley to grant MCH's request for $80 million. Attempt to answer any questions you have about the letter.
Okay, any questions for concerning the letter? Any comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like
Go
to
ahead.
mention the urgency of this letter was that due to the fact that the decision as far as the loan amount is expected to be made within the next 7 to 10 days. So, and the letter was directed to Dr. Galley due to his position within the administration, and it's within that agency or affiliated agencies where the decision will be made. So that's the reason who it was directed. We could have flooded the network with legislators and people like that, but it's kind of preaching to the choir. They've
Right,
been
right.
advocating for this as well,
Right,
and they're well aware. So we're pushing the envelope in this direction.
right. Very good. Is there any comment from the public on this item
None online?
online? Okay, none out public land there. I'll bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
I'll move for approval.
Motion made. Second. Let's vote.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Okay. Supervisors and staff reports. Ask for Supervisor McCauley.
Thank you, Chair. Had a great town hall last week on youth services, behavioral health, social services, Mountain Area Youth Organization. A number of speakers were there to kind of educate the community on what's currently available in Madera County, and served as a great networking opportunity for some of those organizations. So just a good meeting.
Supervisor Poitras.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last Wednesday, I was able to join Supervisor McCauley with the Road 200 bridge dedication and ribbon cutting. It was a great event, and the public was very excited about that bridge repair and what it's going to mean for safer travel. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been involved with the Regional Health Authority, and of course, as we mentioned last week, there's this issue of hospitals as a regional issue affecting everybody. And when hospitals are overrun with patients, it's not a good thing for any of them. So really important that we get that hospital up and running if we can do it. Also attended the first 5 meeting, chaired the meeting for Supervisor Gonzalez, who's absent. And it was a really interesting meeting. A lot of things discussed, but mainly the health assessment of the community, which was quite revealing about some things. So if you have an opportunity to look at that health assessment, it's kind of revealing, and you would enjoy the information it delivered. Supervisor Wamhoff.
Nothing to report.
Okay. CAO.
Nothing further to report, Chairman.
Thank you. County Council.
No report. Thank you, Chairman.
Clerk.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay, with no further action, then we'll adjourn this meeting.